We're joined now by Jenny Levy, Team USA head coach, along with the North Carolina women's coach as well. And she's got a presentation getting ready now for LaxCon coming up on January 15th and 16th is the big weekend, virtually, of course, as we know, but still, as you can see, a ton going on. And Coach, we appreciate you coming on, number one. And talk to us, I guess, tell us what you're going to be talking about this year.
Well, thanks for having me, and looking forward to LaxCon. Presentations are always a great way to kind of get your mind, if it hasn't already started and going, which mine has, but kind of get yourself ready to go. But I'm going to be talking about practice and organization of practice to make sure you hit on the different topics or the different qualities that make a great team. So anywhere from technical to tactical to physical, mental, and then team preparation, and how to put all that together into your weeks, whether you've got preseason, a short preseason, or even how you continue to develop all of those 5 areas during the course of an entire season. So kind of excited. It's a little bit more of a X's and O's. It's for high school and college coaches, and hopefully somebody can find some nuggets that they can take back to their teams for a better practice environment for them.
What was preparing for that like this year, knowing it was going to be virtual, maybe not in person? Was it any different, or and knowing sort of the approach you had to take to this presentation in particular?
Well, it's always the whole presentation is always in my head. The challenge is getting it down onto the PowerPoint that US Lacrosse gives you, and making sure now with Zoom and everything we do with the webinars and in presentation mode, making sure all your hard work is able to be seen by everybody. So I'm a little worried about that. I'm going to have my technical director on hand just in case I can't figure it out. But obviously, we've all been in a lot of Zooms the past 6 to 8 months. So hoping that I can do a pretty good job on it. I've done a few other presentations this way, so my fingers are crossed.
Yeah, right. I think we're all thankful at least we can get something, and that the fact that this is coming, unfortunately, 10 months into this for people who have been doing this for a while. I think that's an advantage of, the LaxCon being a little bit later than when this all hit. When you talk about some of the approaches you take in the practice mindset of things and the X's and O's, give us just one little nugget. What sticks out? What would you say is one of the most important things that coaches should focus on?
I think the hardest part, whether you're coaching high school or college, is life is busy, and people, whether they're physically running around or mentally running around, whether my college kids are running around from class to class, or they're on their apps and their phones, trying to get them to be where their feet are and to really focus in and getting a lot out of practice, not just to show up and go through motions, but intentionally train and intentionally set goals each day, so you can maximize the learning process. And that's a key for us when we bring in freshmen, getting them to stop worrying about making mistakes, but really try to maximize what they're learning. And the faster we can help them learn, the better players they're going to become at a quicker pace. So. Yeah. That's key for any teacher, and coaches are teachers. So trying to make sure that the information that you're trying to relate to your players is sticky, and they learn it, and then they can actually be it.
Right. And it sounds like being efficient and making the practice every second count, right? And not just being there and going through the motions. That seems to be the main philosophy there.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, we all get caught going through motions and in life. And as we know, we can look back and be like, wow, what happened that past hour? I just went through emotion. So really trying to be on that edge of having a lot of fun in practice, but also being very intentional with what you're trying to learn. And I think from my experience, we've had a lot of success with that. And there's other areas we look back and say, wow, we could have done that better. So we're always looking to try to improve our processes in the teaching realm. And it's getting harder and harder because the attention spans are getting shorter and shorter.
Yeah, that's true, and it's a different, obviously, for every coach as the new generations come through. That's a good point. All right, let's talk about the World Championships now. Pivot a little bit here, and obviously we're pushed back another year to 2022. How does that impact you? I guess I know it's a broad question, but I'm sure there's timelines, and in terms of the age of players and all that, how does that impact things as the head coach of Team USA?
Well, first and foremost, we came in with the goal. This is only the third time U.S. has hosted the World Championship on home soil. And so our goal was to really do a better job promoting visibility, players getting to be recognized within our fan group and our younger players coming up. And so it would have been a real shame to play 2021 World Cup in an empty stadium with all the COVID protocols. So I actually think it's a great thing that it got moved back, and I'm really looking forward to spending the next year and a half building a team. We haven't played in a year and a half, so that's been really challenging for our standing training team. And they're such unbelievable women, and they have incredible integrity and focus. So I know that they have done their part to stay in it, even though we haven't competed or even trained. But I'm hoping that 2021 will give us all a chance to reset, start training again in June, and then build towards next summer. But just excited. I think we can really maximize the opportunity to get lots of people out to the game, lots of fans, and in the meantime, help grow the game of women's lacrosse.
And it seems like knowing now instead of maybe waiting until it got too close probably is much better of an advantage for you, right? When it comes to even evaluating, like you said, promoting it too and letting people know, and for them to be able to come.
Yeah, I mean, we had some great ideas and great plans that we're starting to put into process to build recognition. So, for example, after the 2017 World Cup, unfortunately, all the different camps and kids that we saw throughout that summer, probably around 1,500, not many of them could name a national team player, and they were 3-time defending World Cup champs. And so one of my missions is to help our players have more visibility, and I think we've done that. You can go around now to camp and to different events that Lacrosse is hosting, and you can ask the younger players, like, who's your favorite player, and they can name a U.S. player now. So we've made some progress, and we really want to, in 2022 at the World Championship, we want to be able to capitalize on a lot of the good momentum that we have.
Yeah, and it sounds like your approach is what I would expect out of a lot of coaches of your stature. It's sort of you roll with the punches, right? I'm sure it was disappointing not to be able to play this summer, but things are sort of, you can only control what you can control, right? In terms of just your reaction and your feeling of it all.
Yeah, it was real. It's hard. It was frustrating. Every time we sat down to try to make a new plan, then something would happen with COVID and there would be spikes. And then we'd try to get to another point and plan it again. And then there would be, what's the protocol? We have all these players coming in from all over, how are we going to test them? So getting testing protocol and getting access to testing protocol was really difficult. And we've scrapped probably 10 different plans that we had since last January. And so that's been really difficult, but it's not anything that anybody can control. So, just keep a good sense of humor, keep working hard, and keep understanding what our ultimate goal is, which is to win gold in 2022.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, it's a world event, so there's countries and people coming in from everywhere, and obviously that is a whole different battle, that challenges they actually go on. Like they're dealing with the Olympics right now. I mean, that's still up in the air, and that's coming up this summer. So obviously we're looking forward to 2022 now, moving forward, and at least now we hope everything will be status quo as we get closer to that date. All right, speaking of impacts on your life and lacrosse in general, let's talk now about North Carolina. What have been some of the things that that you've learned, that you hope about timelines when it comes to this season for you guys?
Well, we after a lot of discussion with the ACC, it looks like we're going to be able to have 15 regular season games in the ACC, which is great. Each ACC team is going to play 10 ACC opponents. So our regular schedule allows for 7, and then what we did is we regionalized ourselves. So we're in North Carolina. We're going to play Duke twice, Virginia twice, and Virginia Tech twice. And then the other region is Syracuse, Notre Dame, BC, and Louisville. And so that enables us to, if any of those games have issues with COVID, or if we run into some problems, it gives us a little bit more flexibility being in conference. It does hopefully ensure that we play 10 games. And then we're allowed to play 5 out-of-conference games. Carolina specifically is not allowing us to fly for out-of-conference games, but we're allowed to fly for in-conference games. So, I think the key and the challenge is really hoping and helping your team stay safe and COVID-free, which that's, as we're learning right now, it's everywhere, and that's going to be a challenge for all teams, but also your opponents. And I encouraged our team this fall, like, listen, if you have friends at other teams, let them know, what worked and what didn't for Carolina, because we were one of the first schools to go back in early August. And so this is one of those things, it's this collaborative effort, because you need an opponent to play. So you really want to try to help everybody get to the finish line, which is playing games in 2021.
Absolutely. In terms of when those games would start, has there been a pinpoint of that at all, a tentative start date?
Well, right now, our first game is scheduled for February 13th against James Madison. So at Carolina, I think that is a go unless one of the two teams have a COVID outbreak and players aren't available. I think for the ACC, it's goalkeepers. So, that right now is on the schedule. Our schedule should be released in the next couple days, and we have a schedule now. Whether it's going to go as planned, we don't know.
It does.
But we're going to go for it.
It does. I mean, hearing North Carolina and JMU to start a season, I mean, that is somewhat normal, I guess. And we all hope that is what happens here this year. I got to ask you about your team while we have you, Coach. I mean, it seems like, considering some of the extra years and whatever you had last year are now coming back, and the recruiting class you brought in, how talented is this team? Do you think they can stack up to some of the championship teams you've had in the past?
Great team, starting with our fifth years and the kids who came back, and our senior class, the leadership. I've been really impressed with. It's unprecedented times to lead right now, and also there's so much unknown. It causes a lot of stress and anxiety for everybody, and we were really one of the fortunate teams that got to train this fall and start to put things together. Obviously, it's a challenge to not be able to be in your locker room and have the type of team activities that you're used to having to create different relationships and bonds between players. So we really had to kind of think outside the box. But I like my leadership. I like the work ethic, and they're hungry and they're humble. And there's a lot of other good teams out there too. But I've really enjoyed working with our group this fall, and I know that they're really looking forward to getting back on the field. And I probably can speak for all the athletes in the country, not just my team. I don't think anyone will take for granted, playing a lacrosse game this spring, since so much was taken away last year.
Yeah, I think that's true for all of us. And like you said, there's going to be some hungry athletes out there as well. And I noticed you avoided the talent thing and all the stacking up. We'll talk about that maybe as the season goes on. You're a good coach. I mean, you know the answer to the question. When's the presentation for LaxCon? Do you know what day yet?
I think it was Friday.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I think it's Friday at 7 or Saturday at 7. I should probably know that. I've been looking at two different calendars. And some start Sunday to Saturday and some go Monday to Sunday.
Yeah.
I always keep mine Sunday to Saturday, but someone sent me one that was Monday to Sunday, and I think I looked at it wrong. So I got to double check. I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that.
Well, guys, go check it out. Sign up no matter what. No matter what day it is. It's free your schedules. I know everyone's probably going to be near their computer anyway or at home. So great opportunity to hear from Coach Levy, and we appreciate the opportunity to hear from you here, Coach, as always. Thank you. Stay healthy, and good luck in LaxCon. I'm sure I'll be talking to you hopefully as the season goes on.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me, and let's go 2021.
Yes.
Come on.
I can't agree with you more. Thanks, Coach.
See you later.
Yeah.